We're on.
Eukaryotic cells, like prokaryotic cells, have a plasma membrane that separates the contents of the cell from the
Back on.
bilayer with embedded proteins. It has been suggested by some scientists that the nucleus evolved as a result of the invagination of the plasma membrane, while figure 4.5 suggests that the nucleus evolved as a result of plasma membrane invagination. The endosymbiotic theory says that mitochondria and chloroplasts, the two energy-related organelles, arose when a large eukaryotic cell engulfed independent prokaryotes. This explains why they are bounded by a double membrane and contain their own genetic material separate from that of the nucleus. We will be mentioning this theory again when the structure and function of the mitochondria and chloroplasts are discussed in more detail later in the chapter. Figures 4.6 and 4.7 can represent fully evolved animal and plant cell, but they are generalized cells. A specialized cell, as opposed to a generalized cell, does not contain all structures depicted and may have more copies of any particular organelle. A generalized cell is useful for study purposes, but the body of a plant or animal is made up of specialized cells.
Go.
Some eukaryotic cells, notably plant cells and those of fungi and many protists, have a cell wall in addition to a plasma membrane. A plant cell wall contains cellulose fibrils and therefore has a different composition from the bacterial cell wall. As shown in 4.6 and 4.7, eukaryotic cells are compartmentalized. They have compartments. The compartments of a eukaryotic cell, typically called organelles, are membranous. The nucleus is a compartment that houses the genetic material within eukaryotic chromosomes. The nucleus communicates with ribosomes in the cytoplasm and the organelles of the endomembrane system. Notably, the endoplasmic reticulum and the Golgi apparatus communicate with one another. Because each organelle has its own particular set of enzymes, it produces its own products, and the products move from one organelle to the other. The products are carried between organelles by little transport vesicles, membranous sacs that enclose the molecules and keep them separate from cytoplasm. For example, the endoplasmic reticulum communicates with the Golgi apparatus by means of transport vesicles. Communication with the energy-related organelles, mitochondria and chloroplasts, is less obvious, but it does occur because they are capable of importing particular molecules from the cytoplasm. An animal cell has only mitochondria, while a plant cell has both mitochondria and chloroplasts.
Each membranous organelle has a specific structure and function. This is possible because all the molecules necessary to specificity can be concentrated inside an organelle. The internal membrane of organelles provide a large surface for the attachment of enzymes. Having organelles also means that cells can become specialized by the presence or absence of particular organelles. The final result has been the complexity we associate with an organism that has different tissues arranged in organs, each with a particular structure and function. The science focus above describes a process by which investigators were able to discover the structure and function of various organelles. The cytoskeleton is a lattice of protein fibers that maintains the shape of the cell and assists in the movement of organelles. The protein fibers serve as tracks for the transport vessels that are taking molecules from one organelle to another. In other words, the tracks direct and speed them on their way. The manner in which vessels and other types of organelles move along these tracks will be discussed in more detail later in the chapter. Without a cytoskeleton, a eukaryotic cell would have not an efficient means of moving organelles and their products within the cell and possibly cannot exist. We're good. So a long time ago, we had a prokaryotic cell. Then, that prokaryotic cell ate a bacteria named the mitochondria. And they lived so long together that they couldn't be broken apart, and then it became a eukaryotic cell.
All eukaryotic cells have compartments called organelles that keep the cell from doing everything at once. Name 3 benefits of compartmentalization found in cells.
1, the cell is isolated from outside elements. 2, the cell can exchange materials through its membrane selectively. And 3, cells are able to carry out different functions in different compartments.
How did the energy-related organelles arise?
Because each organelle was its own particular set of enzymes, it produces its own products, and the products move from one organelle to the other.